times 1. All right, so you said you had a calculator handy, is that right?
Uh-huh.
I'd like you to calculate what's under the square root. That's the first place that there could be a potential issue. So go ahead and work that out. If you have questions, please ask.
Are you on the call with him?
Right, so that's 143.
Okay, so how did you come up with that? Did you square 13?
Yeah.
That's 169. And then 4 times a negative 22 is negative 88, but the negative subtraction makes it positive 88. So like I said, this is where most of the errors occur. This is why you've got to be so precise here. I would recommend doing the calculations twice and confirming that they're the same. What kind of
now I got 257.
Good. So this becomes minus 13 plus or minus the square root of 257 all over 2. All right, now is the square root
16?
I'm sorry, say that again.
Is the square root 16?
It is not. It does not work out perfectly. Not sure why you got this one, but it's a prime number, so you just leave it like that. Normally this is reducible, not at least in the earlier problems you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so this is it. I mean, this is your answer here. And we can clean it up a little bit by splitting it apart, minus 13 over 2 plus or minus the square root of 257 over 2. But this is optional. You do not have to do this if you don't want. It's really up to your teacher what they want. So you ready to move on to the next one?
Mm-hmm.
All right. This one works out nicer, meaning it's a friendly number at the end. All right. So here we go. We got to identify A, B, and C. A, B, and C. Can you tell me those values, please?
1, 1, negative 74, 72.
Perfect. So again, the formula minus B plus or minus the square root of B squared minus 4AC all over 2A. Okay, so we're going to substitute those numbers in. Minus 1 plus or minus the square root of 1 squared. Notice I'm substituting in parentheses negative 72 like that, all over 2 times 1. So again, let's focus in on the square root here. Can you do the part under the square root for me, please, and let me know what you come up with? And do the calculation twice before you tell me your result.
$289.
You got it. So we're just going to rewrite a little bit here. It's negative 1 plus or minus the square root of 289 divided by 2. Is the square root of 289 a perfect square root? Does it reduce to a nice number? And you can always just try. Just say, all right, go to my calculator, see what I come up with.
17.
It is 17. So we keep going here. This one we can work out a little bit more. It's minus 1 plus or minus 17 over 2. Right, so this is like a case 1, case 2 situation. It's -1 plus 17 divided by 2, -1 minus 17 divided by 2. All right, now you want to evaluate the numerator first. So let me know what you come up with when you simplify each of these, please.
Divide both.
You got to work them both out. They're case 1, case 2, like they're both true. There's always two solutions to quadratics.
Okay, the first one is
Come on.
8,
Good.
Come here, guys.
and this. And the second one is -9.
It is -9. Very good. All right, we'll do another one if we have time. Let's make sure we get everything done before we hit extra problems. Any questions though on that before we move to graphing?
Nope.
All right. Let's look at some graphing problems. There are a number of ways to graph without knowing, what you see in the classroom here. The main way to do it is to first determine the vertex. Okay. And the vertex comes from formulas when it's in this form. The other way is to factor, but we still would need the vertex, so we're going to do it that way. The vertex is -b over 2a. So just like in the previous problem, I want you to tell me A, B, and C, please.
1, 2, and -3.
Perfect. So -b over 2a is -2 over 2 times 1, -2 over 2, which is -1. Is that okay?
Mm-hmm.
So that's the vertex. We're going to make a table here, X and Y, and that's going to be the middle value in our table. Now we need two values larger and two values smaller, 0 and 1, -2 and -3. Do you remember how to find the Y value?
No.
Okay, you're going to take the X value, and we're going to start at 1 because it's the easiest one, and we're going to put it in for X. Okay, so I'm going to write that off down here to the right. It's 1 squared plus 2 times 1 minus 3. Can you evaluate that for me and let me know what you come up with?
My calculator can't do Y.
Okay, so you'll have to do it in pieces. You'll have to do 1 squared first and then 2 times 1, and then you can combine the results. Do you have an answer for me?
Give me a second.
Okay.
0.
A 0. Very good. All right. Now by symmetry, the -3 is also 0.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, which is nice because that means we don't have to calculate every single one, but we do have to do a few more here. So we're going to do 0. We're going to put 0 in for X. Okay, so again, I'm just going back to that original equation, putting 0 in for X, 0 squared plus 2 times 0 minus 3.
And -2. Wait, what?
What is the you have a question or do you have the result?
Oh no, I got this.
Okay.
Zero.
The first one is
It-
0. Yep. And then
Yeah, I know it. I know it's zero, but I changed it to zero and no, I changed it to 1.
so the first one 0 squared is 0. 2 times 0 is also 0, but you've got this -3 at the end. What's the result of those?
-3.
Yes. And by symmetry, this one is also -3. All right, so the last one, -1's, this is gonna be the most difficult one, mostly because if you don't write it in parentheses, you may not get the right result. You have to think of this as -1 times -1, okay? Plus 2 times -1 minus 3. I always show substitution in parentheses, best way to do it.
-4.
That is correct. All right, so these are each ordered pairs in the graph, and we're just gonna label them. I'm gonna do it in red so it stands out a little more. -3, 0, -2, -3, -1, -4, and then we're coming back up 0, -3, and 1, 0. So you need 5 points for a quadratic. That's generally considered standard here. And then from here, you just want to make a nice, smooth kind of drawing here with some arrows going up. And usually that's sufficient for grading, so that you get full mark on that.
Okay, got it.
All right, so just to see how much you understood here, could you just kind of start from the beginning? What did we do to graph this? What was our process here?
We took 3 numbers. We took put 1a, 2b2, c -3.
Good.
And then we wrote that equation. Then we wrote an x, y, whatever it's called. Wrote down -3, -2, -1, 0, and 1, and then I put those problems on the right.
Yeah, so just
calculator.
one little small addition here. We're trying to find the vertex. The vertex is that middle value in the table. And that's really important. That's the center. Okay, so we're going to do another one. It's going to be exactly the same steps, rinse and repeat. All right, and just like before, I'm gonna do exactly what you said. We're going to find A, B, and C. Can you tell me those values, please?
1, -4, -5.
Got it. Now the vertex is x equals -b over 2a. So it's minus a -4 over 2 times 1, 4 over 2, which is 2.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so that's the center of your table. So you put that one right in the middle. You need 2 larger and 2 smaller. All right, now what are we going to do next? Well, how do we figure out what points to put on the graph?
-21.
I think you're giving me an output. How did you come up with that?
I put it in my calculator.
Put what? So I'm asking you
The
to tell me.
equations you told me to put in my calculator, I put it into my calculator and I replaced the -1 with 4.
Oh, -1 with 4. There's no -1 in this table.
You know,
Okay, so we
in
don't
the
want to use
previous problem.
We don't want to use that value here. The whole point is it's centered at the vertex.
I used 4,
Okay, so
and it's 21.
y equals 4 squared minus 4 times 4
Mhm.
minus 5. Okay, so that's 16 minus 16 minus 5.
Wait, minus 4.
Yeah,
Right.
so 16 minus 16 minus 5.
Okay, so it's -3.
Try again. 16 minus 16 minus 5.
-5.
Yes. Now I would have, I know last time we started at the bottom, I would have suggested starting at the top because the numbers are smaller. Might have made it a little bit easier to evaluate. But by symmetry, we know that 0 is -5. And that's also something very important to remember because you don't have to do every point. Okay, so let's do 1. 1 squared minus 4 times 1 minus 5. I like multiplying by 1. Not too bad. Go ahead and give me the result of that, please.
-1.
So I think,
-1.
yeah, so I'm hearing some errors here. 1 minus 4 minus 5. So 1 minus 4 is -3. -3 minus 5 is -8. What kind of a calculator are you using?
Google.
Google. Okay. I mean, there's our problem. I want you to, well, let me not do that. I won't share it. I'm going to send it in the chat here. I recommend clicking on that and typing in exactly what I have written. It'll be much easier to get the right answers here. So 1 squared minus 4 times 1. I'm just typing it in, and then you'll see the calculation done for you. So let me just grab a snip of that.
-9.
For which value? Did you do it for 2?
2.
Okay.
Yeah.
4 squared.
No, I
is-
actually did it for 4.
for 4 is -5. But that Desmos Scientific is really helpful. Really recommend that. So now you just gotta plot the points. You know, nothing, really no math left. 0 minus 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1 minus 8. 2 minus 9. 3 minus 8, and 4 minus 5. Again, just a nice smooth connection's important. You don't want to make them two straight lines. They want to see some curvature.
Okay.
All right. So let's do another quadratic formula problem. That's probably the one that's more confusing with the time we've got left. Let's go x squared plus 5x plus 4. All right. So a is 1, b is 5, and c is 4. Quadratic formula. It's always good to write them out each time. That way you know that you've got it down. All right. So I want you to calculate the part under the square root. Use the Desmos Scientific if you can.
Nine.
It is 9. So this is -5 plus or minus the square root of 9 over 2 times 1. All right, that part under the square root, I can't emphasize enough. That's where most of your mistakes will be. If you're the typical student. So now we evaluate the square root of 9. What is that?
3.
3 over 2. So now it's a case 1, case 2 situation. You have to break this apart.
Why'd you
Minus-
ask me if you're gonna write it down anyways?
All right, I'm gonna end the lesson here. Hope you have a great rest of your evening, and I'll see you next time.